Hello and welcome. I'm the sole developer of Restitutor. I don't usually make a lot of videos since I'm mostly writing code. And today, since we're releasing a public demo, I feel it would be very nice to go through some of the game basics and talk about some of the game design decisions I've made. Restitutor is an incremental grand strategy game set in the Roman Empire. If you played other grand strategy titles like Europa Universalis and Victoria, you should feel very at home. There's a twist though, because the game is also incremental, which means that by the end of each run, you also get legacy points, which you can use to power your next run. The game is also a bit more streamlined and less overwhelming compared to those big titles. And in this video, I'm going to go through the basics of the game, especially for people who haven't played the genre. When you first launch the game, there's a tutorial panel on the bottom left. I highly recommend everybody go through that. The tutorial isn't very long and covers most aspects of the game. And we do have some unique mechanisms in the game. The first thing the tutorial talks about is the government points. Almost every action in the game, upgrading tiles, declaring wars, researching tech, cost one of these three resources: administrative, diplomatic, or military points. There aren't that many ways to increase them, and hiring advisors is one of them. An advisor has an upfront recruitment cost and a monthly maintenance. You can see the cost actually goes up exponentially. Since we are early in the game, let's just hire the cheapest one. Next step is picking rivals. Rivals are provinces that we are competing with, either through diplomacy or warfare. Since we are plotting a war against Belgica, let's make sure they are one of our rivals. And for the other one, let's just pick Germania. War system is unique in this game. So instead of commanding individual armies and dragging them around on the map, everything is abstracted away. And the abstraction is called war power. War powers are affected by a lot of factors, like conscription, composition, general, and morale. The tutorial asks us to increase the target conscription, which is one of the common ways to increase our war power. Do note that the actual conscription takes time to catch up with target conscription. Increasing conscription also has a trade-off. Higher conscription means higher unrest, so you always have to balance between military strength and internal stability. Now we need to get a general for our army. We can either recruit one or make our governor general. Recruiting a general costs gold. Making our governor general is free, but increases death chance. And when our governor dies, we have to go through a period of instability. So for our first game, let's not deal with those complexities and just spend money to solve this problem. Infiltration is one of the diplomacy systems in the game. We have 2 diplomats, and they can be used for espionage. Infiltration builds up over time and can be spent on various covert actions. So let's infiltrate Belgica now, so later on we can actually use it for our aggression against Belgica. Now we can finally start the game. Restitutor uses a classic grand strategy real-time with pause model. The game starts paused and can be paused anytime, so you can take your time to make decisions. The default speed is 1 second equals to 1 game day. You can speed it up or slow it down. As soon as we unpause the game, an event pops up. Event is very important to the game and they can change the gameplay drastically, so be careful of your choices. There are a lot of historical events in the game, and this is one of them, the Year of the 5 Emperors. You can also hover over on the choices to see the actual effect of each choice. I conveniently know that we need diplomatic points, so let's just go with the second choice. Now it's time to declare war. Well, to declare war we need a casus belli, or CB for short. The tutorial conveniently gives us one, but if we don't, it's usually worth the time to fabricate one. The declare war screen has a lot of useful information, so we can make an informed decision. A war can put significant strain on our province, and for our first war, we should start small, so let's just pick 1 tile as our war goal. Now I want to talk about how wars are resolved. Each month, 3 attacks are attempted, and the result of those attacks are based on the relative war power. And the final result of the month is based on the best of 3 system. If the final result is successful, we gain 1 war score. Otherwise, we lose 1. This is actually a fairly recent change. We used to only attempt one attack per month, but that could lead to a bit more extreme situations where you have pretty good odds, but then you're losing 5 months in a row, which is really frustrating. And having 3 attempts would actually make this much less likely. Once we have achieved the required war score, the ongoing war icon on the left will bounce. We can click on the icon and sign a peace treaty. After signing the peace treaty, we now conquered our war goal. A newly annexed tile is not our core yet. Non-core tiles pay less taxes and requires higher governing cost. And when our governing cost exceeds governing capacity, overextension occurs. Overextension has a lot of negative impacts on our province, so we definitely should avoid that as much as we can. To further develop our province, we need to upgrade our tiles. There are 3 types of upgrades: infrastructure, production, and population. They boost different kind of stats. Keep in mind that one upgrade makes the next one more expensive, regardless of type. So you kind of have to decide which aspect you want to focus on. There's a nice tile overview screen where you can manage all your tiles in one screen. Now we have won the war, but our treasuries are in red. We can upgrade more tiles, which give us more income, but it's also worth to cut some expenses. Since we're not at war, we could just cut down our army maintenance. Lowering army maintenance will lowering the army morale, which will take time to recover, but much faster than conscription. From our recent victory, our general has gained 1 skill point, which we can use to upgrade either infantry, ranged, or cavalry skill. A general's skill level directly increases the unit power of that type, which make them very powerful. So after all these time, did you notice our governor is still not married? To secure our province's future, we need to arrange a marriage as soon as we can. We can pick a spouse from local class, which increase their loyalty. We can also choose one from another province, which increase their attitudes towards us. And one more thing, our spouse also have administrative, diplomatic, and military skill level, and the skill level of the offspring is determined by those level of their parents. So you kind of have to balance between local loyalty, foreign attitude, and potential for the offspring. Each one of our tile produces a certain type of goods. These goods can be used to create higher value products or trade with other provinces. So to get a little bit extra gold, let's export our excess wood to Aquitania. There's one catch though. If a state of war exists between us and Aquitania, either we declare war on them or we are dragged into a war through some war coalition, that trade will get cancelled and we will lose this income stream. Every other year, a council election is held, and 2 councils are elected from a pool of 9 candidates. We may support 2 of them, and if we back the right horse, we are rewarded with council points, which can be spent on various Senate decrees. And how do we know who should we support? Well, later on we can improve our chances through diplomacy or intelligence. And right now, it might not worth the effort, so we could just try our luck and pick 2 random ones. Now we can unlock research. The first row of research costs administrative points, the second costs diplomatic, and the third one costs military. Each research makes the next one more expensive. So if you beeline one tech, that would also make the earlier on-research tech more expensive. So it's not only a matter of prerequisites, but also priority. Now we have unlocked a production. Let's talk about how that works. So when we produce a higher value goods, part of the added value is taxed, while the remaining goods can be used to further production or trade. Our province has a limited amount of production capacity, which we can increase through different research. And we should assign those capacities to those production that we have enough raw material and are generally more profitable for us. Now let's talk about Rebirth, which is why the game is an incremental grand strategy game. The first question is when to rebirth. The answer is surprisingly flexible. You could rebirth when you feel like, oh, I've screwed up something. Or you feel like the progress started to get slow. Or simply that you have already accomplished all the goals you've set for this run. Or you can just keep going and don't rebirth. It's all really up to you. But when you do want to rebirth, it's good to know some basics. All tiles you've annexed and cored this run become legacy points. And you can use them for legacy upgrades in subsequent runs. Legacy upgrades give you an early advantage, which then you can snowball into a much bigger effect. And let's face it, it's very hard to reunite the whole empire in your first run because everybody's sort of in equal footing. But with Legacy Upgrade, this very grand task become achievable. Now that's the core of the game. It wasn't that complex, was it? Of course, there are a lot of mechanisms that I did not cover, but the game has a very extensive tooltip system that explain a lot of these mechanisms in details. And if you have questions or encountered bugs, you can always hop onto our Discord server and ask. In the demo, the game's narrative lasts until 400 AD, and there is only one province available, Lugdunensis, but that's already hours and hours of game content. The game is also very replayable. Each run can be very, very different. So enjoy the game, and I hope to see you around.